I met somebody very interesting this week, and they were narrating a very, very beautiful story. So there's this couple, and this couple, after a few years of marriage, is not getting a child. So they went to a peer, a sadhu baba, and said, please do something so that we can have our child. The sadhu looks at their face, says, I can see the lines written on your forehead. Sorry, but there is no possibility of you ever having your own child. Very disappointed, the couple started returning. As they were walking back to the village, they came across a guy who was very, very thirsty, and he asked them for water. Now this couple also had shortage of water, not enough, not in abundance, not surplus. But looking at how that young guy was, they shared water with that man. He took a few sips and then he blessed them, saying, आपकी जो भी मन्नत हो ना, दिल में जो भी ख्वाहिश हो ना, आपके जो भी सपने हो ना, भगवान करे वो पूरा हो जाए. They went to the village. In a few months' time, delivered a child. They had shared the story about the sadhu saying it is not going to be possible. And hence people started doubting that sadhu. News reached that sadhu that तुमने किसी को बोला था कि औलाद नहीं होगी और उसको तो औलाद हो गया. The sadhu, out of curiosity, came to visit them because he understands the science well. And he was confident his science cannot go wrong. When he reached them and he saw that the child is there, he was also very happy. And then he asked them, narrate the entire incident, what actually happened after you returned from my place. And as they spoke about every step of the way and how they were blessed by this person, the sadhu smiled and said, now I understand. Actually in your life, a child was not possible. But that person's prayers for you, that is what made things happen. I look forward to 21st of July every year because that is one day when I get so many good wishes and so many prayers. Left to me, I don't know what we can do and how much we can accomplish. But with your prayers, probably what he also has not written might become a reality. So thank you for your love and thank you so much for your prayers. How many of you regularly go to the gym? Okay, Marwadis over here. How many Marwadis? Eating is also called gym le. So, you didn't raise your hands for that gym, right? So quite a few of you I saw raised your hands in going to the gym. How many others who don't go to the gym but let's say yoga or running regularly? Oh yeah, quite a few of you. Now running behind money doesn't count. If I ask you this question, will you be able to lift a buffalo, which is let's say 250 kgs on an average? Since some of you regularly go to the gym, how many of you think you can lift a buffalo with your hands? None of you. Okay. Now here is another question. No, don't feel sad. Don't feel it's been a waste of time. If the buffalo has given birth to a calf, and on an average the calf weighs about 28.4 kgs. Now how many of you are confident you will be able to lift the calf? So many of you are not confident about a 28.4 kgs. No, you might be thinking, yeah, it's not hygienic. Now imagine this scenario. You can lift the calf. 28.4 kgs on the first day of its birth every day. Will that be possible? 28.4 today. So tomorrow might be 28.5 or 28.6. But you have to lift that calf every day. Possible? Yes. So in a few years' time, is there any remote possibility of you also lifting the buffalo? Remote possibility. I know some of you are already calculating. My body weight 70, buffalo 210, 3 times body weight, world record 2.8, not possible for me. We'll come to the mathematical analysis later on. But for the time being, just visualize this. What looks impossible begins insignificantly small. One day, what was impossible becomes possible. There is this guy called Sir Day Brailsford. How many of you cycle? Now, do you know in Olympics we have cycling as a tournament? And do you know there are 10 gold medals available to cyclists? Sir Dave Brailsford took over as the cycling coach for Great Britain in 2002. Till 2002, Great Britain had got 1 gold medal in about 76 years of the history of cycling in Olympics. In 2008, Great Britain won 7 out of 10 gold medals. And in 2012, they again won 7 out of 10 gold medals. Do you think it's a remarkable feat? 76 years, 1 gold medal. In about 6 years' time, 7 out of 10 gold medals. Repeated, so that was not a fluke. Repeated next year, next Olympics again, 7 gold medals. He took the whole world of sports performance by storm. People started asking him, what have you done? Enough people doubted and said there must be some performance enhancing drugs. They started taking random samples and checking on his team increased manifold. But what they realized and what Sir Dave shared was something truly remarkable. Sir Dave said, I have not done anything great. I have done 2 things which are very, very simple. One, I have worked on the frame of mind of my players. When they perform, if their frame of mind is great, peak performance will be possible. If their frame of mind is chaotic, they will never be able to perform at 100% capacity, just not possible. I have worked on their mind, and today when they perform, they are into that zone of performance and they don't allow anything to distract them. So things as simple as 6 months before the Olympics, 6 months before the Olympics, no news, no social media, completely cut off from what is happening in the world. If you are focused on your life, your body, your performance, and who is winning the elections in America, or whom will Rajiv Gandhi hug next? Rahul Gandhi. You're listening properly, thank you. So much of our time and energy goes waste in dealing with these things, which has zero relevance to our life. 6 months before, the actual tournament, cut off from all the news in the world. He said that helped a bit. He said, I made my players the heroes, which means in a press conference, in team meetings, I don't speak about myself at all. So I don't speak about you not listening to me. I'm not speaking about my methods are scientific. I'm not talking about how much efforts I'm putting on you guys. I'm not talking about what are my dreams and what are my achievements. My whole focus is the cyclist. I bring him to the right frame of mind, and then my strategy has three simple parts. Part number one, I don't speak about myself. Part number two, I give entire credit to the support system and mostly to the riders. And part number three, which actually shook the world of performance sports, was I'm only interested in small improvements. People were expecting him to say how he's planning large improvement, but he said, I'm only interested in small improvements. Which means we took an entire team meeting, 168 people, and said, just tell me what are the small things that we can do by which the performance of the team can improve. And suggestions like these came. When our cycles are traveling inside a vehicle to be transported to the place where we will practice, sometimes the floor of the truck is dirty. As a result of which, unnecessary dirt gets attached to the wheels of the cycle, which we realize reduces the speed by about 0.15%. Can we ensure that the trucks are clean? So what did they decide to do? They insisted that the floor of every truck should be painted absolute milky white. Which means if there is any dirt, it has to be visible. They found out, on an average, the players are getting physically sick for about 2.5 days in a 6-month practice period. They said, what kind of a sanitation can we use? Because food is good. What kind of a hand wash should we use? What kind of water should we use to ensure players don't get sick? Hence, those little days of practice that we miss, if we can practice in those days, the performance will become better. They found out 122 areas of performance increment possible. And each one of these increments was insignificantly small. But it led to 7 gold medals and 7 gold medals again. There is immense power, Sir Dave Brailsford showed to the world. There is immense power in increasing brilliantly performance by focusing on small improvements. When I was in school, Vikas can call Uma Devi and find out. I was a very, very shy boy. I was in a co-educational school, but I never had the courage to speak to girls. Till class 9th, I had only 2 friends, Jatinder Pal Singh Grewal and Sanjay Sharma. And in 10th, when I became the head boy of my school, I was scared. I don't have a team, I don't have a group of friends. How will I execute this work? And my teacher, Mrs. Mitali Ray, would say that then everybody who has hundreds of friends added 1 friend at a time. Make sense? Went to the friendliest person and spoke to him and said, I want to execute this year well, will you be able to help me? And very soon a giant team was there. Small increment My shyness went. I failed as a public speaker in class 6, so I decided I will never be a public speaker. But class 10, 5 minutes the head boy had to give a speech in front of the whole school. And with that 5 minutes, development started happening. Transformations are never big bang. Transformations are small, minute, a little at a time. There is tremendous power in small gains. Let's do some maths. 1% increment done across an entire year. How much do you think the increment will result in? $365%. What if I tell you it will be 100 times more than that? 1% increment means in 72 days, things will become double, not 100. Which means in 144 days, again it will be double, which means 4 times. In somewhere around 216 days, now it will be double of that. And if you calculate that, if a year has 365 days, you will see a 3778% of change in growth. If the reverse is done, if we reduce by 1%, then what happens? In a year's time, I will be left at 3% of the original, which means if I started at 100 and I reduce just a little, 1% of my performance, 1% less sincerity, 1% less planning, 1% less excellence, 1% में कितना फर्क पड़ता है? If you have to look into it another way, I have grief in my heart. And if I say, I am not able to remove it completely in a single shot, how about saying, I will reduce it 1% at a time? In about a year's time, I would have conquered my grief. If some of you want to have excellent health, you don't have to go big bang. Small. Insignificantly small. But consistent. And it creates magic. Sir Dave showed to the whole world, you don't have to be extraordinary to live an extraordinary life. He used to give brilliant examples. How many of you have heard about this lady called J.K. Rowling? Most of you have. What is she famous for? Harry Potter. Some say she was inspired by a boy in Punjab. She heard somebody calling him Hari Puttar. And out of that, the name Harry Potter actually came into being. Dr. Neeraj is looking at me very seriously saying, Arun, that's a very bad joke. There was a time in her life when she was dependent on welfare checks. So in America, if you don't have a job, you apply to the required institution and say that I don't have a job. Then the government gives you some welfare money so that you can survive. Divorced, child, not having a proper place to stay, dependent on welfare checks for her survival. You know how much she earns today? Her credit, Hari Puttar. You have any idea how much she earns today? How much she earned last year? Give it a shot. 2017 end, how much she earned? How much? 1 million. That's a nice number. She earned about 890 million. And 1 million is only about, let's say today is about 6.9 crores. Which means on an average every day she's earning 1.8 crores. Every day. What does she do? Collects checks. She's not even writing anymore. She wrote books. Now some of you who are studying CA, engineering, don't get distracted. But the point is, her manuscript was rejected by 62 publishers. But at it, चलो आज एक को भेज सकते हैं, चलो मना कर दिया, एक और कोई बचा है उसको भेज सकते हैं, उसको भेज सकते हैं. The number of times I have been told no is not important because there are some doors that I haven't knocked yet. At it, persistent. And today she is reached where she is reached. Have you heard about this lady called Ariana Huffington? Some of you have. And don't say you heard just now. She wanted to start an online blog post called Huffington Post. Online news portal. And everybody said it will fail big time. There is no future over there. Today it is the most powerful news blog in the whole world. How did she build it? A bit at a time. A little at a time. Okay, let's move from abroad back to our country. How many of you have ever participated in a marathon? Wow. Full marathon, half marathon? Half. Fair enough. Now, all the people who start in a marathon race do not complete. Does it mean they are lost? Does it mean they are failures? The only thing which is important is to ask, did you do a little better? So last time if I participated in a marathon and after 15 kilometers I couldn't run, next time I participate, even if I do 15.1, it is much better than not participating at all. Now, some of us might look at 15.1 as a failure, but a person like J.K. Rowling and a person like Ariana Huffington wouldn't look at it as a failure, they will see it as a progress. A person like Sir Dave will not look at it as a failure, he will celebrate and say there is progress, and that is how you move to the right frame of mind. Have you heard about a music player called Mozart? You know how many years he created music before his first music was accepted and played? He created a music every day for 10 years. Forget about that. You know gravity? All of you know gravity. Who found about it? Since the time Apple fell in front of him and he found about law of gravity, how much time do you think it took? 22 years. Do you think Apple fell in the morning and in the evening he was writing law of gravity? और ये और सुबह गिरा था कुछ तो खाए को. 22 years. Persistent. 22 years that guy didn't give up. And 22 years he would have made insignificant looking, small, consistent, persistent improvements. And today, because he found out about law of gravity, the world is not the same. When did the first war of independence happen? India? 1857? By whom? Amir Khan? Mangal Pandey. We know Mangal Pandey as Amir Khan. And when did India become independent? Some of you are answering with so much confidence because it seems like first time I am getting a question in history right. So how much time? 90 years. Which means for 90 years, persistent efforts. थोड़ा improve हुआ क्या? थोड़ा improve हुआ क्या? थोड़ा improve हुआ क्या? थोड़ा improve हुआ क्या? And before we realize, one day, the goal that we have in life becomes a reality. This session in Keep Moving Movement will be a soft session. But this session of Keep Moving Movement might be one of the most powerful sessions that you will ever take. There are three kinds of students inside your classroom. One are students who have their mind in the right place, their focus in the right place, they're smart, they also have God-given powers of grasping. They listen to something, they read something and it's a part of them. So they come to our sessions, they listen to what you have to say, they see a disease picture and they go through transformation on the spot. They're like ready-made material. They've reached 99 and they need that little push for that 100% transformation to happen. These are the people whom the teachers call as their delight. Because looking at the transformation, the teacher gets a feeling of self-worth. She knows she's played a role and in that role, she finds her purpose and her meaning. But these children are quite less compared to the number of children we have inside the classroom. Ramakrishna Paramahans, exceptionally revered saint, but he could find only one such student in his entire life, Swami Vivekananda. Krishna, wisdom, he could find only one good student in Arjuna. So the teacher looks forward to, waits, anticipate, prays for this kind of a student. Who is ready, who has surrender, who has acceptance, and will show immediate results. These number of students are always less. There is the next category of people. Children who have capacity, but who are distracted. They have the ability, but they are not focused. You look at these children and you believe they can be world changers. They can become incredible. They can become number one. And then there is a big but which comes. They can, but. These are the people with whom we also have excitement and we also have regrets. We think they would be perfect role models. Then we see they are not living up to their potentials. These are the kind of children who actually become a struggle point for a teacher. Every teacher meets these children, and these are the maximum number of children in a teacher's life. And that is why in the report card, the most common statement written by teachers is, can do better. Then there is a third category. People who are struggling. For some reason, they don't have the natural flair and natural ability. They put a little effort, but they don't see progress. Teachers look at them and they think, अरे यार इसका पता नहीं क्या होगा. अच्छा है, मगर people to be there and does not have too high expectations out of these children. In your class, when you go to take the session of KMM, you will find all these three categories. Now the beauty of this session is, this session will help all these three categories. Marginal improvement, small gain is inside the mental zone of every human being. If I run a 5 kilometer in 35 minutes, and if my trainer asks me, Narek, do you think we can manage 34 minutes and 45 seconds? There is no resistance from the body, there is no resistance from the mind. That 15-second victory looks completely doable. So if a child is scoring, let's say 20 in maths, ironically, that child gets compared to the child who is scoring 99. And the teacher looks at this 20% and says, look at that fellow, kitna lata hai? I am the same person, I am teaching the same way. Tum gadhe ho, tumko samajh mein nahi aata. The gap is so huge. It just does not even enter the mind that it is possible for me. And hence the child concludes, mere se nahi hoga. Maths is not for me. Nowadays it's not about maths, but for many it is Hindi is not for me. And we live in India. And to them, if we give them this small gain, itna kar le yaar. Their mind, their intelligence, their emotion, everything says this much improvement is definitely possible. How many of you struggle to wake up early in the morning? And when I say early in the morning, it's early. So if it is 8 o'clock, then it is early in the afternoon. Now imagine that you wake up at 7 and a grandfather comes from village and tells you, "Hum to 4:30 baje uthte." You might silently say, "Hum to 4:30 baje sote hain." I can see you are connecting with me, right? Nice. You're walking out in protest? Now you are famous. Everybody knows you. You can't even visualize getting up at 4:30. You think if you ever get up at 4:30, 4 people are carrying you on their shoulders. In your life, you have never seen 4:30 a.m. But if Dadari were to tell you, beta 7 baje uthta hai na, kal we will get up at 6:55. Now, does that look like a challenge? Next week we will get up at 6:50. Does that look like a challenge? You don't like the end, na? Suddenly the hall has gone quiet. I know where you are going. Now, if somebody has the smallest of desire to actually get up early in the morning, don't go through this experience of getting up at 7 and therefore attempting at 4:30 in the morning. Then full day you won't know whether you were going somewhere or coming from somewhere. And then you will make up after 2 days by sleeping the whole day. But 5 minutes early. 5 minutes. Consider it done. And imagine in a year, 52 weeks, every week you have woken up only 5 minutes early. What does it lead us to? You might wake up before grandfather. You might go to grandfather and say, "So rahe ho, utho." And you can say, "Don't wait for that sun to come up. Your son's sun has gotten up. Sun square is up. You also get up." It can be done without struggle. The biggest of achievements in life, which today looks like fairy tales and stories which is relevant to some other people, possible by some other people, will become completely possible for you and me. Very simple formula called I can, not just I can. What does I can stand for? Improvement that is consistent and never ending. Improvement that is consistent and never ending. You improve at any percent possible, but let us consistently keep improving. And when I do that, I will be ahead of the leader's curve. When I do that, I will be doing pretty well in my life. Think about people who are history makers. Think about people who are huge inspirations to the world. Think about people who have scripted history. People who have been turning points in the history of humanity. And think about where they were when they began. We know the story when they reached the pedestal. So Sir Dave calls this theory of right mindset plus continuous improvement as the podium principle. Which means if I am participating in the Olympics, I am not going there to just participate. Target podium. How many of you have attempted diets? I like that word, except the first three letters. If only it was called lakhs, it might have been psychologically better. Sorry, Neeraj. Neeraj is doing again. We have a very strange terminology. Crash diet. It's meant to crash. Crash course. It is telling you what will happen. So, Baby, I have seen people begin on a diet in the morning and check their weight 4 times a day. Cost of diet 700 rupees per month. Cost of weighing machine 5,000 rupees. कुछ हुआ क्या? And they go to that extent of you know what I meant? शायद हवा का थोड़ा वेट होगा. Empty the stomach and then stand up. And they see 128.2 grams. People ask this question, which diet works? Every diet works. But it doesn't work overnight. Marginal gain. Take any diet, work on it for a year, and you'll see it will work. Nobody becomes a master overnight. Have you heard of this guy called Picasso? You know, he used to do 2 pieces of art every day. 2 pieces of art every day. Which means in a lifetime, about 10,000 pieces of art. It all adds up. Somewhere it has to work. But if I am an artist and I take 3 years to make 7 paintings and put up an exhibition, except my wife and my children, nobody else will come. And even they will come with a lot of sympathy on their face. My wife will come for her pati with sympathy. Sorry, man. I don't know why it's coming today. And with a lot of hesitation, she will ask, "Koi aaya?" And I get 2 pieces of art every day, 14 hours of work every day, and it all adds up. How are habits formed? You want to be a confident communicator. It won't happen over a day. Consistent and never-ending improvements. Now that is the key to any good transformation. What we do inside the classroom is, it will be compulsory for every speaker to speak about one area in life where either you have seen improvement that is consistent and never-ending and therefore the impact on your life, or an area where you have decided you're going to practice improvement that is consistent and never-ending in your life. What you will do inside the classroom is give children this belief that irrespective of their past, they can create the future that they want. In the first 2 sessions, we attempted to get their frame of mind right. So when we speak about Lizzie, when we speak about creative use of that phase called boredom, we have helped them to move into the right frame. And now, inspired by Sir Dave, in the 3rd session, we will inspire them to focus on consistent and never-ending improvements. So if a child is scoring 42%, we'll tell them, what is that mark which you are very comfortable with over here, which can be achieved by you. If somebody wants to be a sports person, what is that new mark which is just outside what you have done ever in your life? You're confident about doing it, little more focus and little more effort, and it is going to be possible. Welcome back. Habits are created a little bit at a time. I see somebody thinking big, I want to have the same habit, but in my life I have not done anything big. I will say, उनके लिए possible है, अपने को नहीं जमता है. But if I look into any aspect of my life and I say one aspect a little more. For example, waking up. If I wake up at 6 o'clock and I tell myself, I want to wake up at 4:30, but across 6 months. This week, let me wake up at 5:50. You will find magic will happen. What limits us is this thinking that I can't. Your biggest enemy is not your talent, is not the education, is not the exposure, it's not the family, it's not the situations, it is not the environments. What limits us and our biggest enemy is the block that we carry over here. मेरे से शायद नहीं होगा. And history is filled with examples, innumerable people who began insignificantly, but who grew up to become somebody significant. This is a very, very crucial session because most children inside the classroom will believe that they're ordinary and they have to live to be ordinary, somehow get a job, somehow find some stability, somehow settle for what is coming in their path. Kuch to mil jaye. And they might become like a beggar. And the phrase is, beggars can't be choosers. किसी कॉलेज में एडमिशन हो जाए, किसी भी तरह के फ्रेंड्स मिल जाए, and we force ourselves, or should I say, we cheat ourselves to live an ordinary life. We cheat ourselves to live an ordinary life. But the thinking is, मेरे से नहीं होगा. Because we attempted something, didn't work out, मेरे से नहीं होगा. And when you can convince them, wherever you are, little improvement. What is that phrase? A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a small step. What did Neil Armstrong say? A small step for man and a giant leap for mankind. You think I became bald suddenly overnight? So I'm challenging all of you not to become bald. Baba maaf karo. But I'm challenging you to think this way. 2 sessions are over. Now you're comfortable with your class. More importantly, your class is comfortable with you. Now speaking for 40 minutes, 45 minutes is not a challenge. And some of you who have been doing it for years, your eyes closed in coma, you will be able to take the session and come. That is not a challenge for you. What, Milan? Kither Milan? Milan method? Absolute. Not well? Okay. Tire. He's been there from 2001. Joe, 2001. But then they can listen to the session over here and in 2 hours get ready. Shripal, Priya. Taking the sessions inside the classroom is not a challenge for many of us now. But how about going inside the classroom with this kind of a drive that what I have never achieved, I'm going to achieve this time. I'm going to make the children believe that they are not meant to live an ordinary life, they are meant to live an extraordinary life. And I want to make them break their mental barriers. And I'm going to make them see that it is going to be possible easily. Which means they don't have to struggle, they need to be persistent. Marginal improvements, small gains, consistent and never-ending improvements. And they should be able to make a brilliant life. Which means inside your class there are some children who should not have the dream of getting a job somehow, somewhere. The dream should be, I will create jobs. I will give jobs. And to people whom I give jobs, some of them will work with me for a few years and then they should go and have their own startups. Those children who believe that I can't do well ever in geography and they struggle to get 50, 55. How about making them dream 60 or 70? will find a small breakthrough will bring extraordinary excitement. And they will begin to doubt every barrier that they have in their mind about their ability to perform. Till now, they were convinced about their ability to perform at a particular level. You help them up in one aspect of life, and they will begin to doubt their limitations in every other aspect, and they will begin to dream. They will begin to believe, maybe it will work. Let me give it a shot. Let me give a little more than what I am used to giving. Let me dare to think, हो सकता है मेरे लिए, थोड़ा-थोड़ा करके करेंगे, लेकिन कर सकते हैं. I can't eat an elephant at the same time, but one bite at a time, definitely possible. The challenge for you is not to take the session. That will be easy. The challenge for you would be to transform the children inside the session. And you will go to the class with authority. Which means you will analyze your life. You will think, is there any aspect of your life where you had a goal, you broke it down into the smallest, minutest possible pieces, and you took one step at a time, and actually you crossed 1,000 miles. And be careful. Many of us will realize we actually believe we are meant to be very ordinary. Many of us will realize we actually believe जो चल रहा है ना इससे ज़्यादा शायद नहीं होगा मेरे से. We actually believe if I can manage and maintain, that's okay. So there will be some of you who run a factory and you won't even visualize that from 1 we can become 10. From giving employment to 100, I will be able to give to 1,000. The limitation will be, यार एक ही में इतना झिकझिक है, इतना झमेला है, कहाँ से होगा? And in the industry there are examples of people who are doing 10 times more than what you are doing. So which means it's possible, but you have created a limitation over here कि नहीं हो सकता है. मेरा जो नेचर है, मेरे पास जो काबिलियत है, मेरे पास जो हुनर है, उससे इससे ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकेगा. Life is going into management and not in leadership. There will be some of you who are homemakers who probably think ये मेरा life, इससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं कर सकता. And you'll realize you're living that kind of a life because you actually believe you are very ordinary and other people out there are extraordinary. So understand what is happening to your life. When you have to parent your children, you will make them play safe. You will not be able to groom them to excel. Because when I don't have that mindset, I cannot transfer that mindset to my children. And the mindset that I have, I will transfer only that. There was a time when somebody called Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi thought that the Britishers are the best. India doesn't have such a future. Went to London, did his barristers, went to South Africa to practice. Very ordinary person. And then something changed. Have you heard of this guy, E.N. Session? What did he do? Election commissioner. Transformed the way elections happen in our country. I often get this question. And probably this question comes to all of us many times in our life. I'm alone, what can I do? I'm all alone, what will I be able to do? We are concerned about the education system. it's very beautiful but incomplete. It creates in me certain capabilities, but doesn't give me that little more which would have made me extraordinary. Troubled by the way the school system is, across chai we can always discuss, this school system is bekar hai. And if somebody says, why don't you do something about it? मैं अकेला क्या करेगा? Now this is what is called, I'm so ordinary, what can I do? And when Mahatma Gandhi decided to come back to India, how many people do you think were ready to receive him when he landed? 50,000 people? Probably nobody came to receive him. He would have gone back to his hometown, Porbandar, and spoken to a few neighbors. ये ऐसा लग रहा है 70% of them would have rubbished him. पागल है, कौन पंगा लेगा ब्रिटिशर्स से? गोली मार देते हैं. Now don't think about Mahatma Gandhi. Think about Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. When he began, did he think he will become the father of the nation? Think about Newton. When he began to experiment, this has fallen down. और पढ़ेगा क्या? Who inspires him? PV Sindhu? World number 2, 3, badminton? Do you watch her matches? Do you follow her career? How about Virat Kohli? When Virat Kohli was 10 years old, what would his thinking be? Somehow I should get selected for the school team. Somehow I should get selected for the under 14 team. If I can get a chance to play state level, then it chalega. And the thing is, every time he reached somewhere, the thinking was, वो next level में जाके खेलते हैं. How many of you heard that song called Married Did You Know? Only one of you, two of you. Okay, like we did last time. Honestly, how many of you heard this song? Why 3 hands more went up? I don't exactly remember the words, but this song is the inspiration behind this session. The song goes like this, it's about Mother Mary. And the song is, Mary, did you know, when your child was born, that one day he will help in many people getting rebirth? Mary, did you know, when your child was small, that he will become the source of transformation for our boys and girls? Mary, did you know, when your child was small, that he will heal millions of people? When Mary looked at Jesus, when Jesus was small, what did she see? Somebody will change the world. Jesus would have looked so ordinary. And everybody around would have believed he is so ordinary. And then he would have done that little. Let me go and speak to these people who are there in the marketplace about what I think is the way to live life. The moment somebody breaks this barrier, they are on the path to greatness. You don't have to see greatness in a person. You just have to do a little improved performance. And when it is done consistently, we reach the stage of greatness. So when second session, entered into civil services. His first day at office, he wouldn't have thought that I will become great one day. But he wouldn't have resisted the idea. There is a possibility, let me give it a shot. I have my values and principles, and let me give it a shot. And history happened. Have you heard of this lady called Kiran Bedi? What is her story? Something similar. Who would have thought that she will win the Raman Magsaysay Award? Have you heard of this guy called Anshu Gupta, who runs this organization called Gunj? Let me share something about his life with you. Anshu Gupta was a journalist in Delhi. Journalist not on the payrolls of any newspaper, but a freelance journalist. Which means he travels across the city on his scooter, and if he finds anything newsworthy, he takes up the topic, interviews, observes, writes, takes a photograph and submits it to the newspaper. If the newspaper publishes, he gets a little money. So that is freelance journalist. One day he's traveling in Delhi searching for a story, and he finds a rickshaw. And behind the rickshaw what is written is Lash Wali Rickshaw. Now he gets curious, what is this Lash Wali Rickshaw? He goes and asks that guy, "Ye kya hai? Aapke rickshaw ke peche aise kyun likha hai?" And that guy says, Delhi Corporation has appointed a few of us to gather the unwanted dead bodies lying in the streets. Every year when there is a cold wave in Delhi, some poor people die. When there is a death, news first reaches the police station. The police people then reach out to us and say, take this lash into the moratorium. And we are paid a few rupees and 2 meters of cloth. I am one of those rickshawalas who is appointed by Delhi Corporation to ferry this. Anshu asks this guy, लोग मरते क्यों हैं? And he says, उनके पास पहनने के लिए कपड़े नहीं होते. Anshu says, what? पहनने के लिए कपड़े नहीं हैं, इसके लिए मौत हो जाती है. अरे मेरे पास कपबोर्ड में इतने कपड़े पड़े हैं, उसमें से आधे से ज्यादा तो मैं यूज भी नहीं करता. मतलब अगर ये कपड़े उन लोगों को मिल जाता तो कुछ जानें बच जाती. He sees there is a good story and there is a beginning of an inner transformation. He says, आप लाश रखते कहाँ? And he says, जब धंधा अच्छा होता है तो मैं लाशों को पहले घर में इकट्ठा करता हूँ. पूरे दिन इकट्ठा करता हूँ, फिर अगले दिन सुबह जाके मैं जमा कर देता हूँ. अंशु आज घर लेके चलो. He says, चलो. Goes to his house and sees his daughter playing over there. And he asks, तो लाश कहाँ रखते हो? बोले इधर ही. आप लोग कहाँ सोते हो? इधर ही. So Anshu asks the daughter, बेटा तुम लाश के पास सोते हो? She says, हाँ. आपको डर नहीं लगता? She says, लाश परेशान नहीं करती, लाशें करवट नहीं बदलती. So poor. If the lash is not there, probably in the house when somebody turns, it disturbs other people's sleep. And this kid is saying, लाश परेशान नहीं करती, लाश तो करवट नहीं बदलती. And Anshu gets the shock of his life. Goes back home, tells his wife, ये जर्नलिज्म नहीं करना है. अपने अलमारी में जरा देखो तो कितने कपड़े ऐसे हैं जो अपने को नहीं चाहिए. And he's a poor guy. He's earning less than 10,000 rupees per month. His only possession in his life is his Bajaj scooter. That day, husband and wife take out 67 pieces of cloth. And they say, हमारे जैसे गरीब के पास अगर 67 pieces of cloth है, पता नहीं हिंदुस्तान में कितने घरों में कितने कपड़े हैं और लोग मर रहे हैं। आज से मेरी कोशिश यही है, जितनी जान बचा सकूं उतनी बचाऊंगा। And he started a mission called गूंज, saying, वो बच्ची की ना आवाज गूंजती है मेरे सिर के अंदर। To cut a long story short, he was the winner of the Marxist Award a few years back, which is given to people who are the best social service people in the world. Today he has an extraordinary organization. All of you who want to know what a human being can achieve in social sector, one of those people whose life you must study is Anshu Gupta and Gunj. When we met at Life School office, and I asked him, is there anything that I can do for you? Can we have a fundraising program? He said, Naren, I have 25 crores in my current balance in my office. I don't need money. I need people. And I need cloth. Today, he works in Jammu and Kashmir. Anywhere where deaths happen, they go and work. How did he start? 67 pieces of cloth in his own house. Now understand something. Before this experience, he believed he's a very ordinary human being who's meant to do ordinary things in life. Somehow he should get one story, somehow some editor should take it, somehow he should get some money, and somehow he should run his family. The thinking was, somehow, kaise to bhi manage kar lenge. And an experience makes him believe it's not just about me. Let me reach out to 2 people tonight. Let me reach out to 4 people tonight. That's all. 2 people in a night, 4 people in a night. And today, 148 tons of clothes is collected almost every month and distributed to people in our country. And it started with 2 lives at a night. You know what happened? The barriers were broken inside the head. There was no limit as to the work that I want to do. And miracle was created. If you and me live an ordinary life, it is because you and me have convinced ourselves that we are very ordinary people. The truth is, anybody who follows IKM, improvement which is consistent and never ending, the world can become small for you. So it's not about your natural abilities. It is not about God-given talent. It is not about some exceptional qualities which is required for somebody to live an extraordinary life. What is required is improvement that is consistent and never ending. You will be able to help some children through this session for their class 10 boards. Some children are quite behind. They might see its impact in their 12th boards. Some other children might see its benefit 5 years down the line. But if you can give this mantra of I can, improvement, which is consistent and never ending, and if you can make it as a part of you when you go to take the session, if you can identify any one aspect of your life where you're going to test it out, and then inside the classroom, if you can stand and tell them, this is what I am going to do, and ask them, can we identify any one area of life? Let's break the shackles over here. You and me have no idea how far this session can go in the lives of people. They say, when you throw a pebble in a pool of water, what is in our control is to throw a pebble. But how far the ripples will go, nobody knows. Mahatma Gandhi did it for India. But Nelson Mandela would say, if Gandhi had not done what he's done in India, freedom to South Africa wouldn't have happened, and I wouldn't have been a peaceful man when I was jailed for 27 years. Now, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi had no idea that he will be instrumental in the liberation of another country called South Africa. And God knows in the future, whoever in this world will just see that as an example, get inspired and do something. This session is soft. It is not as hard-hitting as Lizzie is. It is not as hilarious as, and as, let's say, involving as the session on Bolden was. This session, like its title, is a degree at a time. A room is big. Compared to the room, the door is very small. The door is big. Compared to the door, the lock is very small. The lock is big. Compared to the lock, the key is very small. But with that key, we can get entry into an extraordinary huge room. We believe this session can do that for about 30,000 children that we are training this year in KMM. We have an extraordinary opportunity of transferring this mantra of I can into the lives of people, being a role model for them, and in years to come listen to stories about how, inspired by Sir Dave, we played our role in carrying the ripple ahead. So the title of this session that you're going to take in the schools is, sometimes very small doors leads to very large rooms. Wish you all the best for the session and have a great time.